today's video, I want to give you recommendations of fantasy books with actual adult main characters, because I feel they're very much underrepresented. So hello my fellow fantasy book lovers and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi and welcome. My name is Kathy, I'm a god girl from Belgium who loves to read fantasy books. In today's video I want to talk about my personal books that I have read recently that I really enjoyed that had adult main characters, because most of the books that I start reading or that I have read recently have very young main characters, and this is a trend that I've seen for a lot of years already, that most of the main characters are these like perfect end of their teens, beginning of their 20s main characters who still have a lot of development to do, and I miss the more experienced main character. Now, one of the books that I have not personally read, but that has been recommended to me over and over, is The Adventures of Amina El-Sirafi. I have personally not read that book, so I can't really talk about it, but it is a book that is well loved by a lot of friends around me, and maybe one day I will read it, although the more pirate theme doesn't really speak to me. So now, without further ado, let's get into my personal list. The first book that I want to recommend is a book that I've read most recently, and it is The Fireborn Blade by Charlotte Bond. This is a very short story. I think this is technically a novel. It is around 150 pages, more or less, give or take, and it talks about a knight who, to restore their dignity or like their reputation, is going to try and find the Fireborn Blade. Now, this book is written a bit differently from most books that I've read. You have the chapters following the main story that are kind of chronological, because every chapter kind of jumps a little bit. So sometimes you have a retelling or like an extract from a book that is a chapter. So either it talks about myths surrounding dragons and their lairs. And then you also have chapters that are kind of retellings of what happened in previous quests of when knights went to dragons' lairs. And then sometimes in the main story you also jump back to the past to give more context about what is happening. So the main character is a female knight who, after years and years of experience, I think she was engaged to someone, but then they refused her because she was a female knight and she was a dishonor in something. And I believe, like from the context that we're giving, that the main character is well in her 30s or even older than that. And I feel it really reflects in the decision making in the book. You feel like she's this really established character, and I really enjoy that. And being in my 30s myself, I really related to this character a lot more than most characters in other books that I've read recently. Then, of course, there is the novel by Kingfisher, which is called Nettle and Bone. And the female main character is actually the third daughter in like a kingdom kind of situation. Her two older sisters have already been married to a prince to form an alliance, and she has been sent off to live with nuns basically, and to not get married to that prince should something happen to her second sister. She knows her sister is being kind of abused by this prince, and she tries to get rid of the prince. Now, the age of the main character isn't told specifically, but we know she is an adult, so she's not like 16 or something. And I also felt that the way this book is written, you follow the main female character, but you also follow the witch that she's accompanied by. And of course, the witch is a more established person as well, which brings a lot of experience into the novel. So Kingfisher's Nettle and Bone is a very particular read, so if you're interested, look up the contents first. I personally really enjoyed it, but it might not be for you. Up next is Godkiller and Sunbringer. This is two parts in what is going to be a trilogy of the Godkiller series, I think it's going to be called. And in this book we actually follow multiple main characters. One of them is a child. She's called Anita, and she has a god attached to her. And then of course we have the Godkiller, who is called Kissen. And Kissen definitely is an adult main character. She has her own found family. She also talks about her family, her real family that she used to have, and how she became a Godkiller. And I feel like Kissen as a character brings a lot of stability into the book, and also a lot of like information that you need to get through the book and through like the realm that this takes place in. And there's another main character who is called Elohast, or Elo as he's called in the majority of the book, who is also a male main character because Kissen is a female main character, and he is actually a knight. He was like the second in command, like next to the king, his best friend as well. And he is going to try and find a way to save the king, discovers that something else is going on, and then like turns against the king. That is basically what happens. So 2 out of the 3 main characters that we follow in these books are actually adults, and I really enjoyed it. Now I'm still waiting for book 3 to complete this series. I loved book 1. I didn't really enjoy book 2 as much as I hoped I would. So I have high hopes for 3 to wrap it up, to make it feel like whole again, and then I hopefully will really want to recommend this trilogy to you. And then of course I need to mention my favorite cozy fantasy series, which is Legends and Lattes and Bookshops and Bonedust. In Legends and Lattes we have Viv, who is done doing quests and fighting like monsters and trying to like find her way. She actually wants to settle down and make her own coffee shop, hence Legends and Lattes. So in her coffee shop she's actually trying to build it. That is book 1. We talk a little bit about her past, but she is already a certain age at the start of this book. And then the second book in what I think is going to be a duology. I'm not sure if Travis Baldree is going to write more books within this series, but it is possible. So in Bookshops and Bonedust we have the same main character who actually has been through combat, who was injured, and who needs to rest in a small town that has a bookshop, hence Bookshops and Bonedust. But in both of these books we really get the feeling of Viv being a adult character, not being a young, inexperienced one. And I know some people are scared of cozy fantasies, and I know you've probably seen these books recommended everywhere, but I really love them and I really get why everyone recommends them. And then finally, I also want to give a few romantasy recommendations with adult female main characters, because we all get it, the books where the girl is like 18, she's perfect, she has the long blonde hair and the blue eyes, like we're tired of it, thank you. So I was really surprised when A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, and then also the second and hopefully the third book in that series, so A Demon's Guide to Weighing a Witch, and then soon to be released A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire, they all have main characters that are very much adults and that are not like picture perfect. In the first one, the main character is actually a woman who is also already in her end of her 20s, beginning of 30s. She is not super skinny, she has imperfections, and it makes her even more beautiful in my opinion. Same goes for the second book. The main character is a tall female. Like, tall female representation is so lacking in books. I'm a tall female myself, and I have really, except for this character, not found a single one so far that I relate to. So that was really nicely done by the author. Now this is romantasy, so expect it from the books. The title literally tells you what it is about. There is a little bit more plotline actually happening in these books, but the main focus is on the romance. And then the final 2 romantasy recommendations with adult main characters are That Time I Got Drunk, and the first one is Saved a Demon. We follow the main character who is already like nearing her 30s. She lives alone, she has her own place, and she is of colored skin as well, and she like saves a demon in the first book. Of course, more happens. They go on this quest to destroy shrines of a goddess, and then of course romance is involved as well. And then the second book is That Time I Got Drunk and Heated a Love Potion at a Werewolf. We actually follow the best friend of the main character from book 1, so it is similar to the Witch's Guide and the Demon's Guide. It's like a similar system. So in the second book we follow the best friend of the main character from book 1, who is also more curvy. She is not super young. She also has her own very much flawed character, and I'm all there for it. So if you want romance with adult characters, I could highly recommend these books. And then there's also Anita Blake series, in which, Anita Blake is this established vampire hunter. She has a reputation, and this is really smut. So if you want to read smut, then this is all for you. So these were my personal book recommendations of books with adult main characters. And when I say adult, I don't mean 18 to 20, I mean 25 and up, because otherwise you're a young adult in my opinion, and not like adult. Like, I'm 32, I want the people to be like around my age, so 25, 30, 35, 40, that is like the ideal age range for books for me at this point. And I would love to find out about more books with adult main characters. So if you have any recommendations, I would love for you to let me know in a comment down below. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already and you'd like to be, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I make new videos every week and I would love to have you for every single one of them. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye!